and gentlemen, what would you say this population of people has in common? I would say they're all happy, wouldn't you? What about this population? This population all has vaccine-preventable diseases. Tonight, I'm going to talk to you about the importance of vaccination. I'm a microbiologist. I've been studying microbiology for a few years, and I'm extremely passionate about helping people prevent infectious disease. Vaccination affects everyone. And I know there are people who cannot be vaccinated. I also know that there are potential negative effects to vaccination. I'm not going to go into those tonight because there's simply not enough time. However, my goal is for you to see that by the end of my speech tonight, that the importance and benefits of vaccination far outweighs the risk, and it's up to us who can be vaccinated to protect those who cannot. I'm going to talk to you about two things tonight. One, what happens when we don't vaccinate, and two, what happens when we do. And I promise you that as you listen tonight, you may save your life or the life of somebody that you know. There is a phenomenon that exists in nature called herd immunity that occurs when over 90% of a population is vaccinated against a disease. The population remains healthy, like this herd of cattle. However, when vaccination rates decline, herd immunity breaks down and disease follows, just as this rinderpest epidemic did in this population of cattle. The same thing occurs in humans. And I'm going to share with you 3 cases of how this phenomenon has occurred in the United States recently. Case number 1. In March 2011, as reported by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, a family from Utah went to Poland to bring a child home from a mission. When they returned home, one of the younger children who had not been vaccinated developed a rash. That child went to school, and soon 6 of their peers and then 6 more people in Utah developed measles. Thankfully, nobody died from this epidemic, but Vaccine News data reported that the total economic cost is estimated to be $300,000 for 13 cases. Vaccination saves lives. Study number 2. According to a study published in the journal Pediatrics, pertussis vaccination rates had been declining in California for some time until in 2010, pertussis, whooping cough, struck back. California saw the worst number of cases it had in over 60 years. That is over 9,000 cases, over 800 hospitalizations, and 10 deaths. Now I want you to imagine a little baby who got pertussis from a mother, a brother, a cousin, or a family friend. This little baby is struggling for air with a whooping cough that sounds like this. Imagine that sound continuing until the baby is quiet, lies there lifeless. 10 little babies suffocated from pertussis. This should not happen because vaccination saves lives. Case study number 3. According to a large study published in the journal Vaccine, every year in the United States, there are 24 million cases of influenza. That leads to over 23,000 deaths annually, and a total economic cost of $87.1 billion per year. Vaccination saves lives. So what happens when we do vaccinate? I'll let the numbers speak for themselves. This here is part of a table published by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention that shows a few vaccine-preventable diseases both before and after the implementation of a vaccine. The numbers are staggering. Look at this progress, 100%, 93% reduction. This is hopeful, but it is not enough. We can do better because vaccination saves lives. When we don't vaccinate, herd immunity breaks down and disease follows. When we do vaccinate, lives are saved. Now, in conclusion, I want to read to you part of a letter from the First Presidency that was issued in 1978. That is just as valid today as it was then. We urge members of the church to protect their own children through immunization. Immunization is such a simple yet vital matter and such a small price to pay for protection against these destroying diseases. Immunization campaigns in the United States and other nations, if successful, will end much needless suffering and erase the potential threat of epidemics. Such efforts are deserving of our full support. Now I urge you, please, go spread the word. Vaccination saves lives. Thank you.